Hi everyone, I am with Lauren Eyrich and Carson Siler today. We are going to be talking about intermittent fasting, and I'm asking these two all of the questions because they are experts at it and they're doing it for a long time. Right guys?
Right. Yes.
Okay, so first question for either one of you, what exactly is intermittent fasting?
It's a scheduled eating window. So when I fast, I will typically pick an end time, and most commonly in my experience, people will pick like 12, 14, or 16 hours, and it just depends on what sounds good to you. But you shorten the window of time during the day that you're gonna eat, and you spend hopefully most of the time you're sleeping, not eating, and then into the next day. So that you, let's say you do 16 hours, you fast for 16 hours, and then you're only eating in an 8-hour window.
What are the different types of intermittent fasting? So I've heard, I'm personally doing the 14 hours of fasting. That's gonna be my max. But I've heard like there's 16-8 window, and then there's like 24-hour fast. I think you like pick 1 or 2 days. Are you guys familiar with the different types?
I am. We actually, that's something, sometimes we'll do, and there's so many different ways that you can implement the fasting. So like we like to implement fasting on travel days.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a great thing.
Okay.
I love to do that because I notice a lot when I'm traveling, I just don't digest as well. There's a lot of bloating on planes, things like that. Travel days, you're typically up super early. So, you know, if you're counting macros or you're dieting or things like that, especially if you're in a dieting phase where you maybe have lower macros or lower caloric intake, you don't want to start eating if you're up at like 4 a.m. and just starting your breakfast. So it's great to delay it, and then you don't have to worry about digestion on the plane. I love doing that.
We do that almost every time we travel, and that really helps.
Such a good idea. And then you don't have to worry about airplane food.
Exactly.
And airport food.
And you can just pack snacks and stuff. And then I also like to do it on my rest days or days where I'm going to have lower activity for a couple reasons. But if I'm not being active or up super early that day, then it's really easy to, like, let's say I eat my last meal at 6 at night. So then it would be 6, 8, or 10 the next morning, and that's pretty doable if you're getting like a decent amount of sleep.
Right, just sleep through it. So what's the...
I know. Obviously.
Just sleep for like 20 hours.
Yeah, and I will say with the 24-hour fast too, I know someone that, that's a great, I love the 24-hour fast. I will do that occasionally because it just really...
So you've done it?
I've done it,
I have not either.
Yeah, it can feel great, and it kind of is just a reminder to cue you into your actual hunger. And then also a big thing that I like to tell people is like, it's okay to be hungry, right?
Yes.
Because, and that's a big thing with fasting is getting over that initial hunger,
right?
And it'll go away. They've done studies on that and shown the time frame in which it does.
Right.
But if you fast for 24 hours, I know someone that implemented this all the time. They would have that 24-hour fast, and then they would increase their macros throughout the week to compensate for that. So the rest of the 6 days, they're getting more food.
Gotcha. So you suggest if you do a 24-hour fast to kind of up your macros for the rest of the week?
Yeah, you can up your macros for the rest of the week, or you could just keep them the same and you'd have a bigger deficit for your weekly average.
Okay, cool. Love it. That's awesome. Sorry, guys.
I think a really good way to kind of think about what time frame is best for you too is based on your schedule and your own like eating needs. Like for me, I don't know if I could make it 24 hours. 16 is really attainable for me, but then I choose my eating window based on what I have going on. Like if it's a really crazy day and I'm gonna be all over the place, it's not a good day for me to do that because I get hungry.
Right.
Which is a direct translation to like, I don't adult. So like, I fast on days
we know.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about when you guys kind of both first started intermittent fasting, and then the changes you saw in your body.
I started actually, Lauren taught me a lot about it for digestive reasons. If I was struggling with macros a little bit, or just had eaten something that didn't sit well with me, or my digestion was just really slow, even things like not having regular bowel movement, stuff like that. I would initiate a fast so that I would stop eating and basically give my tummy a break and my digestive tract a break. And that helps a lot. So if I am experiencing bloating and then I do that, helps with my digestion, and then also resetting my hunger hormones, because if I'm feeling really, really hungry and I'm really not in a caloric deficit at all, or things are just feeling off, you do have that initial wave of hunger. I get it in the morning, but then it'll pass, and it helps me get like in tune with my body and what it really needs.
Because you wake up super early, you guys both do. So even though you're up early, what time are you really eating breakfast at?
I usually try to wait at least until 8.
Okay.
And I honestly time my meals backwards from dinner so that I can make sure to have enough throughout the day.
Yes.
I don't like eating dinner much before 6 or 6:30 because I get hungry again before I go to bed.
Right.
So yeah, usually between 8 and 9.
Cool. So Lauren, tell me how you got into intermittent fasting. Was it because of like being in bodybuilding world, or did you want to do it more for digestion?
I think, I'm not sure. I know when you asked that question, I thought, why did I start doing that? It might have been for digestion. And just because I just noticed when I started, and I was only doing 16-hour fasts initially. And I did notice a big digestive benefit. And it's so true. And we recommend that to clients. Like if things just aren't right, we'll be like, maybe just not be putting so much stuff into your system all the time. Your body expends a lot of energy digesting, so it's really great to give it a break.
Right.
And since then, I used to do a 16-hour fast every single week. That's something that I will start implementing again. I was recently trying to do like a 16-8 or even an 18-6. I did that for a week in December, and it was amazing.
Okay.
I just don't know because I'm starting to track macros again. And that's something that I'll say is that like if you're just starting to diet, like I probably wouldn't throw this in. Just get consistent with everything first. And I just think that I'm struggling with consistency right now, and so it's like maybe not focus on this eating window and just focus on the consistency. I did like the 18-6 and I noticed big digestive improvement.
I think a good way to start too is if you are trying to experience it for the first time, start with 12 hours and then wait a week or wait until the next great opportunity and then add an hour and go to 13 and just find the window that's right for you, because there's really not a right or wrong way to eat your food. It's all about what's going to work for your body and your schedule release. Like scheduling is a huge part of fasting, I feel like.
Yes, that's what I've noticed is I have to like really make sure I know when to stop eating dinner and when to obviously have breakfast. So for your clients that you might be suggesting intermittent fasting to and your followers, what are some tips you would give about intermittent fasting? I know you've had some, especially in the mornings when you're hungry, so tell me about those.
Have a plan so that you know what to expect. So, I mean, obviously establish when your last meal is going to be and when you're going to start eating the next day. So predetermine the time frame that you're going to go without food. Lots of water is really helpful. The next morning I will still have coffee, so water and coffee are like okay.
And plain coffee?
Technically, even plain coffee takes you out of a true fast. Only water.
Gotcha.
But that being said, when I refer to fasting, even if you're having BCAAs, tea, coffee with cream, I consider that, for me, that's fasting. Just nothing solid.
Gotcha. And that's what I've been doing too. I've just been doing like plain coffee to like get me through that little hump and then
So help
breakfast.
Have something warm in your tummy.
And energy.
Yeah, it's good to stay busy too and have things so that you're not just, I mean, it's kind of like anything if you were dieting, but fasting doesn't have to be related to dieting. If you're sitting in your kitchen waiting for your fast to be over, it's going to be brutal, but if you can stay busy, that helps a lot too.
Should people adjust their diet at all while they're intermittent fasting, or do you think they should just keep their macros the same and slowly see what intermittent fasting does?
I would say just keep it the same and see how you feel, because what if you were like, I'm going to also enter a caloric deficit? It might be, are you feeling hungry because you're fasting, or are you feeling hungry because you're in a caloric deficit? So being able to identify all that is important. Is your energy low? Just all these different things.
I think another thing too, fasting has a lot of benefits like better digestion and things like that, but it's not gonna, if you don't have a well-balanced diet and you're not practicing healthy habits, it's not gonna fix anything. Like, it's not magical.
Yeah.
It just helps processes function better, I think.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people think, like intermittent fasting, I can keep my fast food diet and do
Right.
this.
So like that's the next thing I was gonna say. Like, don't have some huge dinner as your last meal and then like go super hungry, because it's just gonna spike your hunger hormones anyways.
But that's, you know, sometimes that's what they like, having the shorter window, because they like feeling like they are having these larger meals.
Right.
But you know, the other benefits like decreased inflammation and all of that, if you're still eating a bunch of junk, I mean, it's not going to help just that you're fasting and still eating all the junk in a shorter window.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
this McDonald's is cool, right?
Yes, more McDonald's. What else? Who should not do intermittent fasting?
Women that are pregnant, most likely, absolutely.
Women that are pregnant, I would say people that are new to dieting, like you said, like just get consistent first. Also, this is like 50-50. There's studies that have shown, because it does have a positive effect on your blood sugar level. And so some people say it helped me overcome my diabetes, but you know, if you already have diabetes and you need to be mindful of your blood sugar levels, like that could not be beneficial.
Yeah, and I would say that there's probably a big difference in approach between type 1 and type 2 in terms of diabetics and fasting as well. Like, my dad's a type 1 diabetic. He's had diabetes since he was 14.
Right.
And fasting will not work for him.
Right.
Another thing too is dieting in general is a stress on the body, and fasting can also create another stress. So if you're already really stressed out, it's not good, and it's not going to have a good impact on your cortisol levels.
Okay, cool, that makes sense. So have a really good foundation and base. And I feel like I was finally at that point of like, okay, like I'm eating good, I think I can try this intermittent fasting and see how it does. And so far I have loved it, and I think Lauren and I were talking about this the other day, is what I've noticed is, you know, I don't feel like I'm deprived of any foods, like say dark chocolate, right? I just know if it comes to 6 o'clock and I'm done eating, I just know, okay, I'll have dark chocolate tomorrow and I'm not gonna go overboard.
It helps mentally
so different.
much. You're just like, I'm done for the day.
Right.
It helps them mentally. And that's another thing too, I would say, with fasting, if you're somebody that's getting overly hungry, that's probably, it's not a good fit. If you're, you know, some people do, they need more meals throughout the day, or otherwise you're just going to end up blowing your caloric goal if you're overly hungry and you're waiting. So just having that good foundation is going to be helpful.
Love it. Oh, and I had another question. So how long should people do intermittent fasting? Should, like, to test it for the first time? What would you recommend? Like 30 days, 2 weeks?
Oh gosh.
I think it really depends on the person. Like, let's say in a perfect world, we have someone that's, you know, they have a good baseline of nutrition, they're pretty in tune with their body, they're an active human. You can do it as frequently as you feel like you need to. Like, when I started doing it, I would just do it once a week.
Okay.
Like,
and
I don't
do the 16 hours, right?
I'll change it. Like, if I'm really, really hungry the next day, I'll cut it short and just do 13 or 14. It just really depends on the need and why I'm doing it.
Yes.
If it's for a schedule or a flight, or if I'm having poor digestion. But I don't think you have to say, like, I'm fasting for 30 days and practicing it. I think you can have it be throughout your nutrition approach, as long as it's working for you and beneficial.
I love that.
And just starting with, like, maybe I do it 1 day a week. Oh, that's working well and I like it. I'm going to bump it up to 2.
Yeah.
And seeing, because there are some people that really do the, you know, 16-8 every single day. And I would say just with anything, start small, see if you like it. So start small, increase it from there, and if it works, it works. And if you're not into it, I mean, give it some time.
Yeah. And that's why I love you guys, because you're so realistic, right? You're not like, you need to do it every single day, right? You're like, know your body, know how you react, and go from there. So is there anything else I need to know along this journey, and anyone else with intermittent fasting?
About fasting?
Yeah.
I I don't think so. One little tip that applies to fasting, but everything else nutrition-wise as well, is in the morning when I'm getting ready to break my fast, I'll plan my food for the entire day.
Yes.
I track macros, so that makes sense for me, so that I know what to expect, because if you do get another wave of hunger and you're like, oh my God, I gotta break the fast, then you might eat more initially than you intended to.
Oh, yeah.
So just kind of thinking through it. And for me, fasting helps a lot detach from food. Like, when do I get to eat? Because I'm just not thinking about it during that time. But it goes back to knowing your body and your hunger and what you need that day. That's just something that helps me.
Cool.
Is there anything unsafe about intermittent fasting?
Yeah, for pregnant women or
That's
just
the only time, but for a normal healthy person, it's not a bad thing to ever do, even if it's one day.
I would say make sure that you're drinking water all day for sure.
Right.
And if you're starting to not feel well, eat something.
yeah.
But there's not a huge red flag that I could think of. It definitely wouldn't go past 24 hours initially though.
Okay. Oh, I have one more question I totally forgot to ask. Intermittent fasting and working out. Do you notice a difference in your workout? Better, worse, meh, same?
And it totally, and this is the thing, it's preference. And you know, some people love to do their workouts fasted and then just refuse to have breakfast even. And so that's one thing that we'll ask clients a lot to do. We'll be like, maybe just try having a small breakfast. And some people love it and they notice increased energy. And then some people just really like their workouts to be fasted. And then fasting can increase your growth hormone as well. And so sometimes there's a benefit. Sometimes people notice that they're able to decrease more body fat and actually add more lean tissue than when they're having this eating schedule that's worked around their workouts. But, you know, that's, I think, why, well, I just haven't been so consistent with it. I just need to get consistent, but sometimes I'd be able to do my workouts fasted and then start eating once I finish those. But there's sometimes where I feel like I have to have something in the tank before I go.
Yeah, I can go either way.
For lifting wise, I actually spent a whole year doing a lot of my lifts fasted and then switched, and last year I just wouldn't do any. And I think if you're just doing cardio or some light movement in the morning, that's great, and there's a lot of fat loss benefits to doing cardio fasted. Now that I've had food before my lifts, I won't go back. I perform way better in the gym, I have more energy, and I notice my metabolism fire better when I'm eating before I lift.
Okay.
I'm hungrier throughout the day, which for me is a good thing because that means I'm going to be able to get more food in.
Right. Okay, cool, that's all good to know. I'm still like testing it out. I'm like, do I look better? I can't really tell. I don't really know. I'm tired. So, yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for answering all my questions. I think I have a little bit better sense and I can actually talk to people about it.
How can people find you?
How can people find you guys?
You can find us on Instagram. My username is CarsonLane_fit.
You can find me on Instagram. I am Lauren_mind-body-soul.
And I will also provide a little write-up of some of the stuff that we talked about today and make sure that that's available. It'll be on my blog, which is carsonlanesiler.net, and we'll make sure to post that on multiple platforms so it's easy to find.
Probably teamhex.com as well.